Hello everyone, my name is Nikki Beaumont. I'm the CEO and founder of Beaumont People, and I'm here today with Evan Thomas from the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia. Evan is the COO there and has kindly offered to have a chat with me today about the work that they do and the relationship they have with Beaumont People. So perhaps I can start with you, Evan. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Mortgage and Finance Association and your role there?
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. Thanks for this opportunity. So look, the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia, or MFAA as we often refer to it, is a peak body organisation. We're a not-for-profit. We represent around 13,500 mortgage brokers. We also have members that are outside of the mortgage broking industry, such as lenders and aggregators. They're really key participants in this industry. And we've got three roles that we primarily focus on. One is representing the interests of all of our members through advocacy and lobbying. The other one is professional development. Our mortgage brokers provide fantastic outcomes to customers in the community, and they write over 50% of all new residential loans in Australia. So one of the key things is that we provide them ongoing education and that they're professional in the way that they engage with their customers. And then the final thing is promotion. We celebrate their success and we promote that value proposition for them to the community.
Wow, that's a really important role that you play within the industry then, absolutely hugely important role. Now, I understand that you've had a relationship with Beaumont People for some time now. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with Beaumont People.
Yeah, so look, I was introduced to Beaumont. Louise Roper was the person that I first met, and Louise and I caught up and we just talked about what MFAA was about, and there was some common interest there in terms of what we could achieve together in the way of building our capability and talent. And Beaumont had a background in membership associations. Mm-hmm. And we had a number of opportunities that we wanted to fill in terms of some key roles. So over the last 12 months, we've filled about 6 positions. Some of those have been management positions. Some of those have been specialised roles. And I've worked very carefully with Louise and her team around the recruitment strategy and how we've gone to the market to identify the right person and onboard them into our organisation.
Fantastic. Yeah, Louise and the team do specialise. We have a specialised division in associations and memberships, which is great for you, isn't it, to have a team that totally and utterly are dedicated to understanding your industry and your needs, etc. So tell me what your experience has been with Beaumont People.
Yeah, look, it's been a fantastic experience. I think from the beginning, it was about really making sure that someone understood what our challenges and what our opportunities were. So I think for me, what stood out was the team at Beaumont really listened to what our needs were, but they were also able to challenge me in my thinking and put alternatives to me in terms of key things that I should consider around either the job role or the recruitment strategy, but also had quite robust conversations through the recruitment process, you know, around individuals. Why would they add value to your team and to your customers, to your membership base? And that was a real positive experience that I had with your team. And I think the other thing was just the general responsiveness of your team. There was regular updates. I didn't have to, you know, pick up the phone and follow up you as a partner. It was always a pleasure to have that proactive communication coming through to me so I could go about my normal business and to know that someone else has got what matters to me also at hand. That was really important.
Oh, thank you. That is really good to hear. And it's great actually to hear you say how much you value the robust conversations and being challenged to work together to get it right. And the feedback, you know, some people take the feedback and the ideas well and some don't, but it's really nice to hear that sometimes you might consider something that's a bit left of field that maybe you would have not otherwise considered.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We had some discussions around what does success look like. And that's always, I think, a key question to ask yourself, to take a step back and reflect, what are you trying to achieve as an end result? And sometimes, you know, your first attempts at defining that you think are right, but then with some further reflection and taking some feedback and eliciting some different perspectives, it can make you think differently, and you can get a better outcome when you've got different people providing, their perspective as well. I found that invaluable.
Great. That's good to hear. Thank you. Now, it's been an interesting few months, of course, with COVID.
Yeah.
How's COVID impacted your organisation, specifically around maybe any hiring plans that you might have had?
Yeah, look, I think the primary thing to comment on first, Nikki, is upfront was all around making sure that our staff were looked after. I think the well-being of our staff is the most primary important thing that we had to attend to. And then secondary, it was about being able to continue to deliver, services to your members in a sustainable and viable manner. We were quite quick and agile in terms of transitioning to a remote working arrangement with our staff. And I think that was a sensible thing for, us to move on quite quickly. There were always a few challenges in terms of, how to go about managing and providing guidance to staff in terms of checking in on their welfare throughout the recent months. But on the whole, we've actually had a very positive experience. Up front, we did have to put a recruitment on hold, and that was a recruitment that we had at hand with you. I think we're at the reference stage, Nikki, in relation to that. But it was just impractical for us to onboard someone in an environment when we were working home remotely. And how do you bring someone through an induction process and get them to experience, the culture, the values that you want to ensure that are key attributes in your staff and your organisation? Because, if you get that right, that comes out in providing better services to your members. And we just had to put that on hold. And I think the key thing there was that, your team at Beaumont were really understanding of that. And also the candidate in this particular instance was very understanding. And we've been able to manage thus far by postponing that recruitment.
Okay, well, we had a similar experience ourselves, but not knowing quite what the future is and where things go from here, it'll be interesting to see how we all adjust to recruitment. And certainly in those first months of all working from home, there was enough to adjust to without also trying to sometimes add new members to the team or working from home. I understand that, but it's good to hear. It's certainly good to hear that our team and the candidate indeed were very understanding in where you were at that time. So another couple of questions. Is there any ways in which Beaumont People helped you with anything through the pandemic?
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing was just the regular contact with your team, Nikki. I must admit there was just a myriad of webinars and information being available to you over the internet and through different, partnerships that you have out there with people in the industry. But the key thing that made a difference for me was that just that open dialogue, just checking in with you as an organisation. Where are we? What are some of the issues and challenges that we're having? But also, what are some of the initiatives that we're putting in place to ensure that, our organisation is thinking differently and providing, a set of services to our members. Over the last 12 months, we've recruited about 6 people. So it was also really important that we checked in on those 6 people because they were probably concerned about their welfare. The last thing that we wanted them to do was to be worried about their role. So that was an important part of the process, that I could just check in with, your staff and what were you seeing elsewhere in different organisations. There were a number of introductions that I was able to have through Beaumont to other organisations to discuss delivering conferences and products and services in a different way than what we traditionally do. So I think for me, it was A, keeping that communication open, B, making sure that we were just checking in on the welfare of our staff, but also understanding what else was happening out there with some of your broader clients, not just in our industry, but in other industries, was invaluable to me.
Great. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. It's nice to be able to connect people who can then support each other. You know, it's important for us too. So, you know, that's good to hear that that's been valuable. So my final question to you, Evan, is what role will Beaumont People play for your organisation as we come out of the restrictions and the economy starts reviving?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. I think for me, this whole situation, you've had to think differently. And there's always going to be challenges, but it's how you think differently to, you know, mitigate the risks, inherent risks that have come through this situation. But how do you take advantage of the opportunities? And the value that I've got out of your team, Nikki, is about getting a set of greater insights outside of our industry and our organisation. And that's been invaluable. And, you know, often you can benchmark yourself by looking externally to your own peers in your industry. But the value that I've got out of working with your team is I've got insights outside of our industry. So a key thing for us working forward, Nikki, is to make sure that we're working with a partner that is going to make a difference for us. I think it's really important that you come to work, you enjoy the environment you work in. When I first met your team, what stood out was their attitude. It was like they were happy and wanted to have fun, but they're also serious about making sure they understood your brief and that they could deliver you value. That's really important to me because when we've got potential candidates meeting with someone external to our organisation, I think it says a lot about who we are, who are we surrounding ourselves with. And I think those attributes are really important because first impressions are everything. And I think for us, I look forward to continuing our relationship with Beaumont. Undoubtedly, we will get through the challenges of COVID. The economy will pick up and there'll be new opportunities, and we'll be dependent on working with organisations for recruitment, training and education. And I look forward to working with your team and sourcing a set of great candidates. And I'd have to say some of the candidates that we've brought on board have already, in a short time of being with the MFAA, have had such a great positive influence on our culture. And that's a credit to you and your team, and I appreciate that.
Wow, thank you so much. That's such amazing feedback. And the team will be really delighted to hear that, actually. It does make all the difference.
No, you're most welcome.
And so I thank you. And I thank you so much for your support and your loyalty over the years, recruiting with us. I know the team particularly love working with you. I really enjoy the experience of working with you. Like you say, you know, take it seriously, but at the same time, like to enjoy it and have fun too. So again, Evan, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great speaking to you. You know, here's to the economy continuing to improve for us, ongoing, and great things happening within your association. So,
look, it's my pleasure. Thank you, and take care, Nikki. And,
yeah, you too.
My best wishes to the whole team.
Thank you. That's great.